You know that one book, the one that promises power, gets banned in prisons, and is supposedly the secret Bible for billionaires? Well, what if almost everyone who reads it gets it completely, fundamentally wrong? Today, we are tearing apart the 48 Laws of Power to figure out what's really going on behind its infamous reputation. So, let's just be honest for a second. Why are you even interested in this? Did you pick it up or think about picking it up because you were hoping it was a shortcut? A way to get more influence, more money, or just a stronger personality? It's okay, because your answer to that is absolutely crucial.
And right there, that's it. That's the trap. The idea that this book is just another self-help guide for getting what you want, that is the single biggest misunderstanding, and it's the one that sends most people down a totally wrong path from the very beginning.
All right, so let's really break down this trap. We're going to start with why so many people get this book wrong from page 1. And believe it or not, it all starts with its wild, contradictory reputation. I mean, just think about this for a second. On one hand, you've got CEOs, major celebrities, and titans of industry praising its strategic genius. And on the other hand, it's literally banned in some prisons because it's seen as a textbook for manipulation. That conflict right there, that's your first clue that this thing is way more complicated than it looks.
So let's be crystal clear about what this book is not. It is not a guide to self-improvement. It's not going to heal your childhood trauma. It's not a mindset fix, and it's definitely not going to give you a personality upgrade. Thinking it will is kind of like trying to use a scalpel to hammer in a nail. It's the wrong tool for the job.
And that brings us to the book's real and frankly much more uncomfortable purpose. Its job is to rip back the curtain and show you the raw, unfiltered mechanics of how power actually works in the real world. All the parts we like to pretend don't exist because, they're not nice or fair. So if that's what it's not about, what does this book really teach? Well, once you get past all the myths, you start to see the real lessons. And they're less about controlling other people and way more about understanding the world that's already around you. This right here, this is the big mental flip you have to make. Most people read this book asking, how can I use these rules to control other people? But the real question, the one the book actually wants you to ask, is this: how are these rules already being used to control me? It's a huge pivot from offense to awareness. And here's the core truth of it all. Power dynamics are absolutely everywhere. They're in your office, they're in your family, they're even in your friendships. And pretending they don't exist doesn't make you a noble person. It just makes you a pawn in a game you don't even realize you're playing.
Okay, take a law like never outshine the master. People hear that and they have a gut reaction. They call it toxic or fake or just wrong. But it's not about making yourself smaller. It's about understanding perception. This quote says it all, really. You can be the most brilliant person in the room, but if you don't have that social awareness, your talent can actually backfire on you.
So what the book is really trying to teach isn't being a doormat, it's what you could call political intelligence. It's the art of reading the room, of understanding timing, of managing how you're perceived. It's why another law says to win through your actions, never through argument. It's about showing your value, not just talking about it. That's a skill, not a weakness.
This whole idea of political intelligence, it builds into what is probably the single most important metaphor for understanding this book. The right way to look at these laws isn't as a weapon, but as something else entirely.
And this is the critical difference. Look, low-skill, immature readers see these laws as a weapon. They want to use them to dominate people, and you know what that leads to? Paranoia and becoming socially toxic. But high-skill readers, they use the laws as a shield. The goal isn't to go on the attack, it's to understand the game so you can avoid being attacked. It's about defense, not offense.
At the end of the day, this book is just a mirror. It doesn't pour new personality traits into you. It takes whatever is already inside, your discipline or your emotional reactions, your self-awareness or your deep-seated insecurity, and it just turns up the volume. The very same book can create a clumsy manipulator or a brilliant strategist. It all depends on who's doing the reading. Okay, so this all sounds a little abstract, right? How does it connect to the real world? Well, let's talk about the currency of power, because understanding these ideas has very, very tangible effects on things like your career and, yes, your money.
Look, the path to real success isn't just about working hard. We all know that. It's about positioning, and that positioning is built on understanding concepts like perception and leverage. So first, you have to get your head around these ideas. Then you use that knowledge to put yourself in a strategic spot, and only then do things like success and money start to flow your way, almost naturally. And this is where you can really see the difference between the beginners and the pros. Beginners think power is about being the loudest person in the room. They're always chasing attention. But truly powerful people, they don't care about that. They're focused on controlling the context. They value precision and they value restraint. They know when to speak. And maybe more importantly, they know when to stay quiet.
All right, let's pull all of this together. It's time for the final, and yeah, maybe the most uncomfortable verdict on this book. What does all this actually mean for you, the person holding it? Probably the best way to think about this book is with the knife analogy. In the hands of a skilled surgeon, a knife is a tool that can save a life. But in the hands of a small child who has no idea what they're doing, that exact same tool creates chaos and damage. The book itself isn't good or evil. Its effect depends entirely on the maturity of the person holding it.
So, who should probably just leave this one on the shelf? Well, if you tend to be emotionally unstable, if you're deeply insecure, or if you're obsessed with proving how smart or tough you are, this book could be actual poison for you. It's just going to make you more cynical, more paranoid, and ultimately more isolated. This is a tool that requires a very steady hand.
And this really is the whole point. If you walk away remembering just one thing, let it be this. The true purpose of learning these laws isn't to get power over other people. It's to become ungovernable yourself, to get to a place where you're no longer controlled by the illusions, the manipulations, and the quiet power games happening all around you. And that's really the final thought. The world and the game of power, it doesn't run on good intentions. It doesn't care if you're a nice person. It rewards awareness. Understanding how the game is played doesn't mean you have to play dirty, but it does mean you have to stop playing blind. And that awareness, well, that changes everything.